still going with these videos. We're starting a new adventure. It's getting a little more than a minute for men, so if you got time, hang out with me a little bit. For this one, it's called Story, and I'll tell a little bit of a story this time. I've been telling a story the whole time. Our lives are a story, and that's all we have to offer to other people is telling our story and sharing our stories. A lot of us cross paths, which is cool, and our stories intertwine. You meet people on the internet, you meet people through a YouTube video, and you see how much your stories connect. As I'm writing my story, I'm writing a new book, and the point is hopefully to connect with other people. It has to do with emotions and how we deal with our emotions and our negative thoughts in our minds. But I learn a lot of stuff from listening to people's stories online, and I build those different connections. I obviously have some personal connections too. I've been praying with my buddy Joe pretty much every morning, so even before I go on my prayer walk, we start talking a little bit, and we start praying, and I'm looking at nature, and I'm just creating my story for the day. So today is beginning another 40-day journey. It's 40 days after Easter. In the Bible, it says that Jesus hung around for another 40 days after he resurrected. But I think it's next Thursday that the Catholic Church celebrates Ascension Thursday or something like that. It's like 50 days afterwards. So I'm taking this course at Harvard too, about to finish it, up on Christianity. And our stories are, I don't want to say warped, but our minds, our thoughts are influenced by whatever stories we were told. So whether it's a story by the preacher, a story by your parent, or by a show, like we know the Ten Commandments because we saw the movie. We celebrate Christmas because we saw a nativity scene, but that's not what the Bible teaches. The Bible has, there's four different gospels for a reason, because there's different perspectives that change the story. So your perspective is important. Again, it's time to grow up now and be like, oh, is that real? Did Jesus, was he born in next to a donkey and a little pig? Because that's what's in my nativity scene at home, and that's what I grew up with. Like, there's things that are a little bit different. That's not the complete story. That was somebody's artistic rendition of it. Did Jesus look like that thing, or is that just the picture that Michelangelo drew and it kind of looked more like him? And again, he could have. Probably Jesus didn't have blue eyes. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We can get into a whole bunch of other topics in conversation, but the word of the day is story, and telling your story and not being afraid of your story. That's trying to where I'm getting. Like, I'm just a kind of, again, normal middle class guy, and I feel like you'll hear the story from the rich business CEO guy trying to get you hyped up, or the guy who's just really down in the dumps and been a drug addict and turning his life around. Like, I'm neither one of those guys. I just have like a regular story, trying to be a good dad, trying to be a good husband, trying to figure out what life is going to be like in this pandemic, and just really enjoy it. So I'm hoping that we can do that, just live like really normal lives, and just enjoy the time that we have left here. We know that this is a finite world that we live in. We're not going to be here forever. Death is obviously very apparent now. People are dying. You're going to die, and that's what we have now. We have our story. I drove around the cemetery the other day, and I've heard this line a few times before. There's the year that we're born, 1980 for me, and there's the year that we die. I don't know that one yet, but all we have right now, our life is that dash in the middle. So that's your story, living out that little dash, and you're going to be either in a graveyard somewhere where it's like there's thousands and thousands and millions of people who are just buried, and they had a story, and we're telling our story now. So hopefully you make the most of it. Thank you.